Hello. Welcome back again. I'm here. I'm Philip Logan on another edition of the Logan's Hour on Saturday. Today, as I stated, we have three separate editions of the Logan's Hour, and we are actually done with the first one. This morning, we were in conversation with Honorable Tiawan Gongulu, and we were in conversation with him from 10 to 12 this morning, and it was so fascinating. It was so much. Man, I enjoy his response, and I enjoy my dear brother, Honorable Joshua K. Power, who, alongside with me, had a great interview this morning with the presidential hopeful, Tiawan Gongolo. And today, by 5 o'clock, we should have started with the former police chief, Honorable Gregory Koma. But I had to run to Middlewood Park because they were honoring some graduates of the Liberian community of Indiana, those that work tirelessly. You remember I've been talking about this program that was scheduled for today, and it is actually taking place right now. I was there for at least few minutes, and I had to run back here because I have to fulfill my obligations. So we'll have Honorable Gregory Comer coming in shortly. He's the former police inspector general on the region of Madam Ellen Johnson Salute. And trust me, at the park, there were so many good things went on, and I have video of what is going on currently at the park. They were honoring graduates, and the video I have is so long I can't play it right now. Unfortunately, I was trying to see if I could just play it, but it's like 11 minutes, and nobody want to sit and watch it 11 minutes right now. But I can rest assure you on my program on maybe which day. Or I can play a little of it if that makes sense. I can play a little of the video if we want to watch that, but I can keep it for my program on Tuesday and also throw some light on that if that would also make sense. But the program at the park, trust me, is going on right now, and everybody's excited. The community is out, and few people for the community they have been certificated today as well. So we want to say to Sis Fatima family and SYZ, my brother John Z Akwe, commonly known as SYZ. We want to say thanks to the both of you guys for the hard work. Uh, Thanks for the hard work. We appreciate you guys' effort, and we are always here to support, regardless our differences in views and our differences in how we conduct our lives. We will always be here. Uh, and I also want to say thanks to my beautiful wife, Samah Hamoud. She was also involved with this process as well. And the program started today. The welcome remarks were done by Mr. John C. Akwe, and the opening prayers and opening remarks. It was by the president of the Liberian community, Mr. Rufus Tati. The keynote message there was by Ayo Clark. Then salutation address was by Edwin Fokpapa. Unfortunately, he wasn't present. And presentation of certificates that was done by Madam Miko Koked and Jima family and Dr. Family himself. He was part of this all-important program. And closing remark was Sis Fatima family, the youth chair who organized the all-important event that took place today, and followed by the first lady. Y'all know her, our own first lady, Madam Ruth Tati. She also uh, played her role on this all important program here today. Uh, then okay, sorry for that. All right, so let's just pay some respect to some of those who make it today, who graduated today. Let me say graduated, who were on today on this all important program. And we cannot play the video, unfortunately. Like I said, the video is a little longer. I could have played it, but we have limited time because at 7 o'clock I should be at the program at the Library Association official office headquarters. That's where Honorable Gregory Kuma will be having a low minute town hall meeting with folks of this community and I'm going to be serving as the moderator of that program as well. So my half my plate is so tight today, and I appreciate everyone who always follow us here, everyone who always make their lookings out to be their own contributor as well, and we all make it better the way we want it to be. So some of those who were on today, I would just mention some of their names. So because we can play the video on Tuesday, I can rest assured you when I come here, I'm going to play all of those videos for you because it's like 11 minutes. The part of capture in this video, specifically, I was just trying to capture the important part of it that just talked about those who are receiving certificates today and why they were receiving the certificates. I recorded all of that part of it. So we would just go through the list because they are so much. So we're going to say here, first of all, congratulations to all of you again. And while waiting on the IG, we will just use a little time to squeeze some of our own little thing inside because we just from the park and we've been talking about this ceremony taking place at the park, those graduates. So now what the IG will be joining us shortly. So let's talk about what happened at the park. And first of all, I want to say congratulations to Andy Gibson. The other day, you heard me talking about Andy Gibson. Andy Gibson have his graduation cook coming up. My Andy Gibson, that's her little son. So his graduation cook coming up. You all know the date. Saturday, May 26, 28 rather, 2022 at 3 o'clock p.m. So Andy will be having his late graduation cookout. You all can show up and let's have fun. So those receive certificates today. And I want to say thanks to the organizing committee. You people did an extremely job. And I want to say my hats out to you people, all of those who were instrumental in making this day a success. So those receive certificate today. I want to say congratulations. So I'll start with the name as is listed on their program sheet here. I want to say, first of all, congratulations to Andy Gibson and Masale and Tika Isademe, Vida Bila Duo, Adam Seon, Dr. Samuel Lloyd, Dr. Edwin Fokpa, Dr. Christopher Falafaya, John Z. Akwe, Alfonso Zeon, Philip Kekbe, Winter Snow, Nathan Jala, Bernice Afa, Samuel Toh, Columbus Zena Jr., Nida Seon Ford, Alexis Sao Isokolo, Percy Bayu, Andre Koluba, Kondia Andre Zo, Massa Fambule, Ayo Clark, Kanter Alicia To, Vera Hamu, Jill Bliney, Grace Williams, Frederick Cotto Walker, Dennis Sele, and Emmanuel B. Dennis. So these are the people who received certificates or were certificated today at the park. And trust me, it was awesome. It was a beautiful experience today. And everybody at the park, I want to say thanks to you guys. I can't play the video right now because of time. But while we joining the Honorable IG shortly, I want to emphasize on this music that I play here today earlier on the show when we have Kasida Tiawan Google this morning. And it's basically the reason I keep playing this music, because this music is about throwing some awareness on drug abuse and trying to help young people who are getting on drug and considering drugs to be their only option. And Panto and his guys, they have put out the new songs. And this song is basically telling you the message in the song to stop drugs, put stop to drugs, and drugs is not a way forward. So before we get with the IG again, we'll play this song again just for you to just listen to it again because it just came up. So I appreciate everyone for always joining Logan's Hour, always following us here. So now listen to Panto just a little more, then we will join our the IG shortly.
Sakacho, the single rap boy. Bongo great, Alice.
Now whenever you are living West Point, you used to go to school. Now one day the power absent. He started making friends, different kind of friends. He started smoking weed, cause he listened to his friends. From the weed to the cocoa, from ghetto to ghetto. Now he not drop out of school. On the street he checking food. One of his friends he loaded and say, "Man, you not take those over." Hey brother saw him begging for money and said, "Brother, you not take those over." He said, "Don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Hey, don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Be a pressure to me like that." I said, "Don't call me Zogo. I used to be fine like you. Don't call me Zogo." He said, "Don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Yeah, don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Be a pressure to me like that."
Like a joke.
I said, "Don't call me Zogo. I used to be fine like you. Don't call me Zogo."
Once upon a time, the Sogo used to be chronic. Some walking baba with my reach about losing my phone used to be dusty. And up, which to tape. I said I wear my teeth. I want to get petty. I from my pass out in it. All on this on play when they on my dinner. I agree with this talking that they gave it. They know that they can kick. But they have to do what I say. Put it proud for the T-Law. Because it put out airline country. It's probably people calling this Sogo. Why we're probably doing this evil? This Sogo. I thought it won't make sense. Or food. I didn't bring it. I only cooking and I just send the president sign it. Don't call me Sogo. I used to be jealous.
Don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Hey, don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Be a pressure to me like that. Say, don't call me Zogo. I used to be fine like you. Don't call me Zogo. He said, "Don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Hey, don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Be a pressure to me like that. Say, don't call me Zogo. I used to be fine like you. Don't call me Zogo. Say, we not want drugs. Say, we not want war. They say we must say no to drugs. But they see him when I bring in the drugs. Say, no. You can see what drugs is doing. See, I can in our dreams. They're supposed to protect us. Probably why they teach us. Hope they can listen to. Say, don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Yeah, don't call me Zogo. Don't call me Zogo. Be a pressure to me like that. Say, don't call me Zogo. I used to be.
So you say what I'm talking about. The reason why I play that song, because I know there are a lot of people, or there are lots and lots of our brothers and sisters out there who have gone astray, who are allowing substances and other stuff to control their lives, and they are struggling with drug addiction. And today, our brother Panto, he went to the ghetto and he saw one of our brother in the ghetto, the guy who you saw rapping there, and he's a talented person, but he got caught up with life and he found himself in the ghetto. And Panto said to him, I watched that. He said, "You know what? You got something in you that the world is looking for. So I'm going to expose your talent. I'm going to take you out there. We're going to make music together, and people are going to see that you are a productive person. But sometimes, like I said, you can have all your plans. They said many are the plans in the house of a man, but it is the will of the Lord that's prevailed. So with all of your plans, if God do not direct your path, it's just a waste. So you heard that young brother on the track singing. He's talented, he's smart, but he got caught up. He got caught up. So that's why they say sometimes evil company corrupts good habit. If you if you're in a company and you do not guide your company well, you do not guide your friends, trust me, you're going to be misled by bad company. So let's sorry. I'm coming, but I have I have the I have portion of what I wanted you to see here because I know. Let me just. My dear brother. Okay. Yeah.
Next is Candle Hendrick School. Next is Winter Snow. Yes. Next is yeah, but if you have an interesting person you want to John C. Asquith.
Congratulations.
Next is Dr. Christopher Hannah. Next is Dr. Edwin Pogba. Next is Emmanuel Dennis. Next is next is Villa Gold. Next is Mr. Adam Fair.
we'll come back here because we know that was the program at the park, and the program is still going on at the park. So we know all of the people living in the community is interested in knowing what is happening at the park. So we will come back to the park because we already have our guests. They are entering studio one at a time. We have Mr. Johnny Bola Dean. He's in backstage right now. He will be joining us shortly. And as I said, we will be in conversation with the former police IG, Honorable Gregory Coleman. So in split second, they are trying to set up right now. So when they do set up, then we will be joined by Mr. Gregory Coleman and Mr. Johnny Bola Dean. So all of you out there who following us, all your security concerns, all you need to know about security and your safety in Liberia or whatever, or you want to ask questions about the past administration, comparing it to the current administration, you have your former IG. Like I said, those are serving public offices. They are on an obligation to answer your questions when it comes to public activities. So I'm calling on all of those out there who know their former IG and they know his capacity, to know what he capable of doing. Ask a question. Come up here tonight or today. And right after here, by 7 o'clock, the former IG will be at the Liberian head office downtown 55 State Street or something. I'm not getting the address right. I can just look it up right now. So all of you, you know what the Liberian Association normally have their meeting downtown. If you want to be there for this all important conversation, you can also stop by and be part of the all important meet and greet, because the IG will be there for at least an hour, and we'll all disperse from that point and go to our various locations. So the IG will be joining us shortly. So we already have Mr. Johnny Bola Dean already set up himself in the studio backstage. So we will come back to them. Let's just go back to our park activities and see what was happening there. Then we'll come back to the former IG to join him shortly.
Next is Dr. Samuel Lord. He said he was one of the weather today. Next is Nathan Jala. Next is Man Biara Amos. International Librarian Restaurant. Next is Miss Nadia Simon. Next is Mr. Philip Kaba. Philip Kaba.
What's up, bro?
Next is Mr. Columbus.
Of that tonight, because like I stated, it's like a 11 meetings, and there are tons of people who receive certificates today. So we will also save that for Tuesday, because I know a lot of you are interested in watching that as well. because currently they are taking place at the park, and I'm encouraging everybody this evening by 7 o'clock. Honorable Gregory Como will be meeting with Liberians um, of Indiana, specifically in Indianapolis, and all of you are invited. You can all be part of this all important meet and greet with your former police IG. And we Liberians, no disrespect to us, but our issue where we just sit down and speculate and do not ask those necessary questions. I think it's about time that we get involved to know how can we deal with some of the issues that we have been speculating for so long. Let's ask all those basic questions. And today it is an honor, it is a privilege to have the former IG and someone who have worked in the American system as well. He will tell about himself a little. And to have him in our town, let's brace the occasion. Other states around the U.S., they are also praying and hoping that they will have Honorable Gregory come on visit their state and even appear on their local show to talk a little about security business. So today we have like 32 people who receive certificates from the Liberian Association of Indiana for their hard work. And I want to say thanks to the organizing committee and thanks to everyone who make this a success. So not to eat up the time because the honorable man have to go and get ready for the program coming up by 7 o'clock. So we would just bring the honorable Gregory come on in studio because we know he have to go and get ready. 7 o'clock is going to be the program, the Liberia Association, in collaboration with other organizations around here to speak to our former Inspector General of Police. So with all due respect, I'll bring the honorable in the studio. How you doing, sir?
How do you do?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm blessed to have you today.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite, and it's an honor being here with you all.
Thank you so much, Honorable Gregory Coleman. So if you just following, we are in studio with the former Police Inspector General, Honorable Gregory Coleman, and he's presently in Indiana, specifically in Indianapolis, and he's right on the Logan's hour at this time, 6:12 p.m. So, Honorable Gregory Coleman, I know you have to rest because you have another program coming up by 7 o'clock. When big people enter the town, we don't allow them to rest. So.
No, it's perfectly okay.
Okay.
It's time for us to share some insights.
Okay, that's good. So if you're following us tonight, if you want to know who is personally in studio here, he's the former police IG because we have other people who follow us too on the YouTube channel. Okay, now I have one of my dear brother who will be joining the honorable man. His name is Johnny Bouladin. He will be right here. Trust me. He's also a friend to the honorable, but he want to quiz him. So you just sit and watch this happen here tonight. All right, but Johnny Bouladin, how are you, my dear brother? What's up?
I'm fine, thank you. How you doing, man?
I'm okay. Thank you so much for joining the Logan's Hour, man.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Okay. All right. So let's go to it straight because I know time is of essence. It's already 6:13 and the honorable have to be at the Liberian people stuff by 7 o'clock. And we know Liberian people, if the big people do not show up on time, the next thing is saying, oh, how the big man, I know time. So, but Gregory, come on, let's just go to you to just introduce yourself, sir. You are muted. You are muted. Okay, go ahead.
Well, I don't think I have any further introductory remarks to make. I'm just honored to be here on your platform, and every privilege to speak to Liberians. It's an honor for me, and I see this as such. So I'm willing to sit, listen, share whatever I can, to enlighten and share information about whatever issues that come about here today.
Thank you so much, Honorable Gregory Coleman. So we will go to
can you just go
Gregory Coleman.
Thank you.
That's better because all the tattoos and all right, that's good. So let's go to my man Johnny. What's up, man? Introduce yourself to the people.
I'm fine, thank you. Good to appear on your show today. and witness my boss, speaking and sharing some of the expertise with people with the Liberian community and that of the people by and large in the world. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on the show.
All right, thanks to both of you, and thanks to all of those following us, and thanks to also those who following us on YouTube as well. The rest of the community folks, they are at the park currently because they have this honorary ceremony going on to honor all of our graduates of 2021, 2022. So we are excited to see the kind of a beautiful program going on at the park right now. I was at the park and had to run back because I had the program scheduled for today as well. So because we will not be here too long, the honorable have, let me say, Gregory Coleman. Sorry, I just used to call you honorable now. Yeah, Gregory Coleman have program coming up at 7 o'clock. So we would just go straight into it. We will not be here too long, as I stated. And I have the honorable Race W. Basiga as well in the background. So you are surrounded by tough guys tonight.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you are surrounded by tough people tonight. So let's just go straight into the
ambush.
Oh, it's a real ambush. It's a real ambush.
But I'm prepared for it.
Alrighty, thank you so much, sir. So let's just go to you straight. Let's talk about you being out of the service in Liberia currently. How do you feel, and what is your experience outside?
Well, it's the service was a life for me for over 18 years. So parting from that life is never easy. I mean, it's been a difficult transition, but it's been one that I do appreciate now as I continue to explore other things out there and look from outside into the issues of law enforcement, not just in Liberia, but the world over. Um, Even though I'm not into active service, but I still get involved with law enforcement activities here in the U.S. and in other parts of the world from the academic perspective and also from a community engagement perspective as well. Here in the U.S., we work with police organizations on the issues of community policing from a sensitive standpoint and also for building on the new concept of the inclusion of anti-fragility into law enforcement and community relationships. So being outside is it's an honor. And I tell when I speak to chiefs who have got more years of service than I have, I tell them the one advantage that I have over you is the fact that you're still in, even though you have 35, I have 18.
Yeah.
So I have the privilege to see it from the standpoint of a former chief, and it's a whole different viewpoint. So I'm giving you real time experience, and I hope you can incorporate it because if you step out and start to see it from where I stand today, you will have wished you knew some of these things to have corrected it before getting to where you are. So it's been a great experience outside of the uniform, but not fully outside of the realms of law enforcement.
Thank you so much, Honorable Gregory Coleman. So I will just turn to my dear brother, Race Basigia, then he can start. We followed by Honorable. Let me go to my man, Johnny Boladin. So, Race, can you unmute yourself, sir? Are you there? Okay. If you're having it hard, then we'll go to Johnny Boladin. All right, Johnny, let's go to you. Let's honorable hear from you first, then we can go back to Race.
Uh, okay, again, as I said, it's a pleasure having my chief here over in Indianapolis. I mean, this is somebody who I've had a lot of respect for, both professionally and whatever we do as friends and brother and chief. So it is a pleasure having him here. He said to me, like, Johnny, once you're in the States, let me know that I'll come over and I will sit with you. And I will say this much that whenever we ever had the opportunity to sit together, I learned a lot from him. And, he's always willing to provide knowledge to you, whatever you're lacking. He's never too busy to come out to your aid, whatever you need him. And I can assure you that at the end of the show, we have a lot. I also want to say we are not politicians. We will not dwell more into politics as well. We would like to stick in a professional terrain,
Okay.
and I will actually let it remain in that framework, so we can have a cordial discussion, and then we can see how other people can benefit from, the world security sector in and around the world and Liberia, by and large.
Thank you so much. I think we have our man Rex is having a little difficulty, so we'll go back straight to Gregory. So Gregory, you've been out of Liberia for some time, and currently, when you look at the situation back home, we have heard of so many mysterious deaths. And currently, just a few days ago, we heard about a little girl who got brutally murdered by some unknown person in the I don't know, shoe factory or whatever, by the Seti brother fence. And looking at the current system, under you in Liberia, I think we have some calm. And currently, I'm not saying we do not have a calm, but do you think something is going wrong, or what do you think is the problem right now?
We had a discussion here earlier. We had a discussion earlier this morning. I was speaking with a few law enforcement professionals, and we started to delve into the issue of safety. What constitutes safe communities? And a safe community is a community that has basic social services, proper schools for the children, electricity, running water, and then the rest of the physical security relies on the police. And then there is this thing the world over where all of the issues that confront society is quickly and easily shifted to law enforcement. But most of those issues are not law enforcement related. Crime, yes, the death of someone is definitely down our alley. Is something that we should be concerned about. It's something that law enforcement must do everything they can to prevent. But in order to make it easy for law enforcement to function, there are other factors that have to constitute the safety of the community before law enforcement can complement whatever else needs to happen. Unfortunately, in the case of Liberia, it's all about the law enforcement. Once someone dies, everybody is running towards the police as to what has happened. Yes, I mean, once it is a death, the police will come in and investigate. If it's something that can be prevented, hopefully through the mechanism of community-oriented policing, they're able to share light with community members as to how to protect themselves, how to be able to be a part of the entire law enforcement activities in local communities. But unfortunately, some of these incidents, I mean, it's something that they will not be everywhere. But if those basic social services were available, if there's electricity, proper electricity, and all of the social services that constitute safe communities, there will be a serious reduction in crime in Liberia. And that goes for everywhere else around the world, not just Liberia. So I know we are all concerned of all of what's happening. Yes, law enforcement has a part to play. I mean, from the crime scene management and everything else that happens after that, but the preventive part of it, from avoiding it from happening. Yes, the community relation is one, but the basic fundamentals has to be there to support the fact that we are able to curb the crime.
Thank you so much, Honorable Gregory Coleman. So let me go to Johnny. Johnny Bullard. Johnny, do you have any question for your former boss? Man, you want to ask him for my boss?
No, I do. I do
Okay.
have some questions for him, and
Officer,
maybe I was
permission granted for you to speak freely. You can go ahead.
right. So the chief has given me motivation already. So I listened to you, Keenly. You said the issue of enforcement. One part of it is enforcement, and one part of it is all the situation that surround what the cause of some of the problem before police can come in.
Yeah.
Police is basically the last resort. Or what do I mean is situation happen before police get involved. Police only respond basically to crime related issue and some community policing. If we see what role does the police actually play when it comes to mitigating between state actors, the community, and that of the police as well? Because if we're talking about other economic factors that the police that cause people to be involved in the crime, that's why the police have community policing. So they go to the community and then they interact with people and try to find out why a lot of people involved into crime. And then that part of it is being looked at, but then the police doesn't have the necessary support to adequately carry on this function. What role can the police play to maybe say, okay, government, we need you to, or we have the data or the statistics to say, yes, the reason why people is involved in the crime in, for example, Nukutan, because more of the people here doesn't have a daily bread. So they depend on a daily hustle to survive. So as a result of that, they are family people, they have to get involved in the crime. So to mitigate the crime situation here, not just enforcing, or this is part of our community, what can the police do? What role can the police play to create that link between government, the community, and that of the police?
The first thing to be considered here is the fact that police should not be there to react. I think law enforcement has changed over the years. I think it should be more preventive diplomacy issues with police right now to try to prevent the crime from occurring before you have to respond to it. And you got to understand, in times like these where there's competing priorities and very limited support to law enforcement have to shift the focus from the traditional policing to lean more heavily on the conflict-sensitive, community-oriented policing, getting the community directly engaged, making them feel a part, making them feel comfortable, gaining trust and legitimacy with the people to be able to prevent these crimes from happening. So, and the truth of the matter is, it is cheaper to be proactive than to be reactive. Because if you have to be responding to all of these situations, I mean, the first thing, you don't even have the fuel to respond. You don't have the necessary vehicle. The response time is very, very poor. So if you're depending on response, the damage will already be done before the police can even get there. Because in some cases, police officers have to even come in and step up to be able to provide the needed logistics to respond at times. So I mean, this is something that has to be carefully thought of, and the traditional mechanism has to be reversed, and all of the focus now have to be placed on preventing the crime from happening than even trying to respond to it. And the truth of the matter is, this is a science. Everything that's available to you in these times will be helpful in ensuring that you are able to use your meager resources that you have that's available to you. Right now, the global initiative just completed the crime hotspot mapping, and that covers Liberia as well. This is
muted.
that can inform law enforcement as to how to deploy the limited resources they have. Because in this data, the data gave analysis of the current situation in Liberia, the crime factors, the crime hotspots, and the spillover risk factor for neighboring countries as well. So, I mean, in being very, very efficient using the limited resources, these are things that they have to pull information from and inform their decision as to how to deploy the limited resources that exist today.
Okay, thank you, Greg. So, Johnny, you have follow up, or I should go ahead?
Yes, I do have follow up.
Okay, go ahead.
Our Como, you spoke about community policing approach. We do know signs are proving that it is the best approach to solving crime, working with the community. Yet and state, the police cannot be everywhere, and there will still be crime, even no matter how you work with the community. That is why we still borrow the reactive method from the traditional policing, what we call crime repression. So we still go after to trace, identify, and apprehend people. My follow-up question is, how do we get the community to help in solving crime? Let us get a case story with Liberia. And one thing, you had the opportunity. After you left the police, you came here to work with the judiciary sector or the policing sector of America to understand the workings and how they operate. You are opportune to do that. So what is the difference? What is the difference from back home, or working relationship with the people in that of here, and working with the community improve on back home to help mitigate or prevent the issue of crime?
I would say, I mean, the main issue here is trust and legitimacy. The police has to be seen as a friend providing a service that must be appreciated by those who are being served. Unfortunately, in our case, those who are at the receiving end of this service are not satisfied. So it's about time that police go back and reassess the methodology of delivering those services, speak with the people, get them involved. I mean, we all believe that we're professional people, we're trained, and we know what we're doing. So I mean, we don't need the advice of people who have no clue about policing. But don't get it wrong. This is the same word used in the restaurant as service, is the same word used at church, where you go and the pastor preach, you feel served, you feel lifted, you take your money, put it in the offering. You go to the restaurant, they serve you, you feel served, you're able to give the waiter a tip. It's the same word, service, that is used for policing. So if those who are on the receiving end are not satisfied, it's left with the provider of the service to take a rain check, redesign, remodify the delivery of those services, and get the people involved. Look, I tell you, if the police gain the trust of the people, they will cooperate with them. They will give information. It will make solving crime very, very easy. But in the absence of trust and legitimacy, it will be extremely difficult because nobody will want to share information. So one thing that can help with trust is accountability. The police have to share information. I know if we're talking about the case of Liberia, there's the Professional Standard Division. They investigate tons of cases. They reprimand police officers. There has to be a way that the police story will be told out there. The police has good deeds that they do every day. Those good deeds are not being told. Who's telling your story? I mean, so the police have to be out there to make people to understand that we do a lot of good things more than the bad things that you see. There will be rotten apples in every organization. I mean, you bring people from all walks of life. They come with a foundation. You build the training upon it. You are not responsible for that foundation that the training was built upon, but it is your hope that with the training, it will strengthen that foundation to make them to deliver the services that you're hoping to deliver. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You will still have people stepping outside of the bounds. But the thing is, the police has got to tell their story. There has to be good deeds that the police do daily for people to know and appreciate. The only thing that you will see on social media are the worst things that they will ever do. You will never see someone post a picture of a police officer holding the hand of a child to cross the road to get to school. You would never see that officer who responded at 3 o'clock in the morning at an armed robbery scene that was fired at. You would never hear the story of someone like Alfonso Yagba, who was responding to an armed robbery situation, who led so many teams out there to quiet armed robbery and got shot in the process, that today he's differently able. You would never hear those stories of the endless sacrifices that people make on a daily basis. So the police have to come out and tell their story. And that's what we encourage law enforcement agencies out here to do. I mean, to set up social media platforms. Right now, we're on a project that if you enter one of the cities, as soon as you get within the area of responsibility and you open a social media feed, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, you will see the police page and you'll see good deeds that they continue to do every day, because the history is told from the perspective of the writer. So a good way to build that trust is telling the story of all the good things that the police continue to do on a daily basis, which outweighs the bad.
Thank you so much, Greg. So, Johnny, you are okay? I want to ask him the question from Rick's Basigia, because Rick's were on here, but I think he has some technical glitches, so he.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay for now.
Okay, so let's go to Rick's here. So Rick's asking you the question here. He said, "What security expertise did Greg use during his time as IG that had the LMP fully engaged with the citizens and confidence that is different from the current LMP under President George Manawia?"
Okay, Rich, to answer your question, I will speak to the LNP under Gregory Coleman.
Yes.
because I do not closely follow the LMP under Libya administration. I know I do keep very close contact with administration, with some folks there every now and then when I see issues that I believe that I must make some contributions for corrections. I do. But I would differ from making the comparison because it requires a lot that I'm not privileged to right now. But I would tell you, the Gregory Coleman administration, we carved out our own form of policing that should have been theorized after the election and the transition to make sure that the entire service was retrained to that and that it could have been exported in other areas. And what we term it as the conflict sensitive community oriented policing, where we brought in a project management mechanism from the do no harm concept, where you're extremely sensitive for every intervention, that any issue that you intervene in, it does no harm. It does not escalate or prolong whatever the situation is, but rather resolve it from a very sensitive perspective. That was the methodology that we used, getting people involved, getting people convinced, identifying stakeholders, reaching out to them, and letting them know how important it was for us to work together to maintain and sustain the peace. That was the mechanism that was used, and we believe it was effective. Unfortunately, we did not have the time to theorize it and make sure that it became a training and the modus operandi of the Liberia National Police, which would have been a very, 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 very good a platform to ensure that the trust and legitimacy that we had earned between 2016 to 2018 was sustained.
Thank you, Greg. So we have another person here from the Correctional Bureau. His name is Jan Vulule. He asking, what have been or are the fundraising strategy for the police in Liberia?
Well, police is not a fundraising organization. Police relies solely on the budget that's provided for by the central government. So there has been none that I am aware of. If there is right now, I'm not aware, but the funding has been strictly from government and donors.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to my dear brother Johnny. Johnny, you are
I mean,
unmuted.
maybe a question I can even
I,
go
I,
a little further
I
Yeah,
because
think maybe
you can go a little further on that.
because
maybe he's trying to talk about donors, maybe writing
well,
donors.
I mean, if he's looking at it from the donor perspective, it has to be engagement that are in line with their foreign policies. So if you're looking at engaging embassies, you have to look at what's the foreign policy of that country. What is it that they support, and make sure that your strategic plan has something within there that you can relate to them and make a case that they can connect to and be willing to support. In our case, we had the Swedes come in to support because one of the issues that we were looking at, we were rolling out in our strategic plan was a key issue in their foreign policy for Liberia. So that we're able to raise money from, we're able to get, not raise money, but get a good donation for projects. The Americans have always been very, very helpful. I mean, in being supportive to police enforcement issues. Before I left the LMP, there were two large projects that were just being rolled out through the INL, and it's my understanding that those projects came alive and they've been supporting the Liberia National Police since then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. Let me say, Johnny.
All right. I'm in Liberia. I'm based in Liberia, work there, though I'm not in government, I'm in the private sector, but I'm still support the government in terms of enforcing the law in different sector, in the private sector, whatever it is. But I have heard of a lot of negative rumors. I mean, some on Facebook, some on Twitter, some on Instagram, spraying of deaths, news in the country that people dying, people are just dying like that on the street, and people are killing their own family. the killer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm privileged to follow some of the cases because I must say I have a background in investigation,
Yep.
especially homicide investigation. So sometimes I do my own investigation. But Chief, I want to know what is really the cause of the bad news. I mean, the spread in Liberia nowadays. I mean, even though some of them are not true, I want to say that for a fact. And sometimes people ask me personally, I do explain to them. I mean, I trust a lot of guys out there. I'm not there anymore, but there are a lot of way more professional guys in the police now. I have a lot of respect for them, and I think they have been doing extremely well with the limited resources they have. But yet and still, the negative news is too bad. Everywhere you pass, if you come here, oh man, people die in the street. They all get blood away from them up, and XYZ. Like every day, 2, 3 dead body in Monrovia. Even though everywhere in the world people die, in fact, our death rate is even low because if you look at the death rate in other countries and how people die,
Yeah.
they are claiming a suspicious death. Even though we have our own opinion about that, we try to reserve it because the matter is subjudicial, and they are pending a autopsy report that is to be conducted on the Princess Cooper body. But I want to know what you think the cause. I mean, before then the news, I mean, there were bad news, but it was not many like this. What mechanism you think, or why you think the cause of that, and what can you advise? I mean, what your own perspective on that?
I wasn't fortunate to have gone to the UK with the police team then, but I was glad that my partner was a part of that mission. And when he returned from Scotland Yard, I asked him what was the definition of police, and he told me policing is bluffing and information management. But for your answer, a key component here to this, and that's what Mr. Commissioner Nelson Freeman told me, information management. And to answer your question, I think a lot of it has to do with the management of information. One thing we all should come to realize that things and times have changed. The access to information is way, 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 way more different than it was yesterday. Everyone with a smartphone now is a journalist. So all of these issues are being captured and is being put there from the perspective of the person who captures it without even any proper investigation. And it's unfortunate that some of these cases, there are recordings that have shown very poor crime scene management. So as a result of that, people are always indifferent with whatever analysis that even the pathologist will give before we even start to talk about the police. Because if you, I did not see the full video of the girl who was the death of the girl who was referenced earlier, but I
Mm-hmm.
did see a brief portion where the body was removed, and immediately after the hearse left that scene, uh, Thomas, Dixon, Harrison, and the mothers were there, stepping all over that scene, taking pictures, moving stuff, touching everything around, which basically contaminated the scene. So, in the event of an investigation that even leads to court, there will be a lot of questionable issues that could arise from how it was captured. But I believe that I'm not the pathologist to say whether these deaths are crime related. But unfortunately, there has been a lot that has been reported in the press. The only thing that the police can do at this point in time is to improve their ability to investigate it and to step out the preventive engagement, and that is through community policing. Any way you turn it, it will come back to community policing because that is the only preventive mechanism to deal with some of these things. In the absence of the basic social services that should be there to complement the work of the police, the only thing the police can do is to be proactive in engaging the citizens and hope that that proactive engagement will yield some result because the citizen could cooperate with them. So better crime scene management, better investigation, and information management. I mean, there are times that some of these things will come up. There will be everybody else's perspective before you hear the police come out to tell you. I mean, some story that everyone else will have a counter reaction towards. So there is a need for proper information dissemination and management, crime scene management, and proper investigation. Most importantly, the renewal of trust. trust is the only thing that would make people believe that whatever investigation that has been brought to life after carefully analyzing all of the evidence, allowing the evidence to lead the investigation, that these things can be trusted. In the absence of that, we all trust the people will never believe it, even if they did the right thing.
Thank you. Go ahead, Johnny.
You spoke about information management, and this is from my perspective. I feel that one of the things that's lacking is information sharing. Let me say this: from my experience in the police, when things happen, people come up with their own perspective, and that a story that they came up with, they want to stick with that story. Anything on the contrary with that, they tend to differ, even though they are not professional. They don't know how to conduct an investigation. They don't know what are you pass to gather your evidence. But at the time, once they come up with that story, and then you or the police report or whatever it is different, and then they tend to differ with whatever report the police come up with. And I think one of the reasons for that is the police being so tightly on information. I'm not saying the police should give detailed information, but at every stage, if a crime occurs, even all over the world, police update the public on an ongoing investigation and keep them at the level they want them to remain, to know. Okay, basically to say, okay, the police is investigating homicide, a 13-year-old child died, blah, 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 and the police is currently investigating fine. If the police arrest somebody or brought in someone as a suspect, or maybe they're assisting the investigation for speculation purposes, and the police need to let the public know that we have brought in John Brown. We have invited John Brown, who is currently assisting the investigation, because the word there should be key. Because if you say arrest, then mean you might have probable cause to arrest somebody linked to a commission of a crime. But if you say assisting the investigation, it means maybe you just brought that person a witness to help. So at this stage, at every stage, you should be able to update, not details, but update the public. And that is what I think lacking nowadays. I don't know what are the public relation thing are right now with the police, but I think that was lacking, because everybody come out and giving one story, and then when you be too late, sometimes the rumor it run fast, and they play lock and reach for true to not get energy to read all in that corner. Yeah, true lazy. Yeah, true lazy. So before you make a man lie already not read or play, and true can read that to clarify lie. So you just lead it. You know what I'm talking about. So, I mean, this is one of the major challenges I think, and they need to be looked into keenly, that the public has the right to be updated on an ongoing investigation, even if not details, but they should have some level of information so that the public can say, no, even though they think you bring in the police have said they have brought in somebody, they did not arrest that person, they brought that person into a system. And all the police have arrested John Brown in connection to what have happened. So it's better. So these are some of the challenges we face in Chief, and I think that need to be looked into. I mean, there's a perspective I just want to share from our own side what I think somebody lacking. But the truth is, the rumors are too much, and the negative rumors is too much, and it's affecting every Liberian. It hurt me a lot. And, you can't take police from me. Police in my blood, because from the time I started knowing myself, the first correct job I ever done was to be a police officer, and I know how professional and distinct the job is. So when I see the police integrity is being questioned out there, it hurt me a lot. That's why sometimes I get myself involved in some of the cases. So, I mean, that's from my own perspective.
Thank you so much. I think the chief spoke about it. He said proper information dissemination is the way to go for the police.
Yeah, so, and Johnny, it all boils down. It boils down to information management, information dissemination. Once you're able to manage the information, I mean, you won't have to be reacting. If you're proactive, that information will be out there before anybody else have a story. You will have spoken, and everybody else will be following what you said. But if you wait and people start to complain, the police haven't said anything, and then before you come to cook a press conference and put it out there, you will be reacting to everything else. So being proactive is not just from the community policing perspective. As a matter of fact, the entire community policing philosophy should be that of the departmental working philosophy. Everything about it should be community oriented because that's your target group. Those are the people you're serving, and your engagement with them must be proactive. So right now we're not in 2005 where there were a lot of murders and stuff that were not captured, that were not reported. People capturing everything. In the same vein, there are videos available to help people. Those who are responsible for police information dissemination, if you go to Google and just type it there, you'll be able to see some videos that will help you to be able to build up your ability to manage some of these issues. You don't even need to bring trainers from America or anywhere else. You can teach yourself right online. There are tons of sites that people can go out there and just research and try. Look, you may not have everything, but the brain power is something that can work for you.
It's true.
Reach out, look for how other law enforcement bodies are doing it. It's right there on YouTube. All of these people got a channel. Everybody on Facebook, every day they got information on Facebook. Look at it, see how other partners respond, and then try to incorporate that into your information dissemination mechanism as an organization. But it has to be redefined. It has to be redirected. It has to be a centralized form of communication. You can't have one person speaking for the police, another person speaking from the other side in the name of law enforcement and stuff like that. It confuses the public when you have information coming from all over. So it has to just be properly managed, and most importantly, trust. Because even you try to manage the information, if the people don't trust you, you're wasting your time. So the bedrock of it is to gain the trust of the community. And that is, the police has to be accountable, they have to be accessible, and they have to be willing to welcome the community as a part of whatever they do.
Thank you so much. So let's get two questions from our online follower here. So this person is one of the residents of this community. His name is Mr. Anthony Gifler. He said, prior to your appointment as IG, what were you involved in? Why are there too many unsolved cases in Monrovia? How did the Harry Greaves case concluded? Was it
prior
okay,
to my
go ahead.
appointment as IG? So I mean, I served within law enforcement in Liberia for 18 years, between the Liberian National Police, the then SAS, which is now EPS, the NSA, and then back to the Liberian National Police. Around the time of Honorable Greaves' death, I was here in the U.S. By then, I was doing my master's at the Kennedy School. That particular case I followed very closely, and but I wasn't in Liberia to have known all of the details. I know there were people of interest that were invited for questioning in that investigation. I know at some point they did hit a deadlock, and that is one investigation that the file is still there, and there's no statute of limitation as it relates to murder. So eventually, as information starts to unfold someday, it's my hope that that particular murder can be solved. Yes, there were some unsolved murder issues in Liberia, and that is not just for this administration. This administration, to an extent, they've solved some very complex and complicated murder cases back in other administrations as well. Look, sometimes it's some of these issues. Our foreign counterparts that we have for the last for 12 years running for Spain, the UN mission in Liberia, they just couldn't believe how LMP solved crimes, because it was impossible in their own thinking for us to have been able to get to some of these criminals who were committing the crime, because we had absolutely nothing to work with. And there were times where we had a mobile crime lab, but I mean they were limited. Even if you had the ability to lift fingerprint today in Liberia, you do not have a database to match the fingerprint. So it's useless. You take the fingerprint from the crime scene, but I mean, what can you do with it? So I mean, at some point in time, the conversation was moving towards integrating all of the different agencies that were collecting fingerprints, so as to have that the data shared with the police for us to be able to match it at some point in time. And it's my hope that government could embark on that project and continue it. incorporate that of the National Identification Registry, the Bureau of Passport, and everywhere else that fingerprints being collected, so as to have some database that police can use in terms of solving crime. But it is extremely difficult. Hats off to the officers that ever do get to the bottom of some of these murder. But as it stands today, from any professional law enforcement point of view, they will tell you that what at the Liberia National Police level is almost impossible for for them to solve any crime, because there's zero to work with, zero. Yet and still, the officers use their own measures that they've used over the years, things passed down by older police officers who are served, and to an extent, they've been very successful. But times are changing. We will reach a point that the court will become more rigid and will be more critical about these pieces of evidence that have been that are being produced in court. And then that could also jeopardize the successful prosecution of some of these criminals that are being arrested. It's about time that government start to invest in this sector. Justice is that firmest pillar of good governance. If you want to ensure that you are living up to what the true governance of a country is, the justice sector has to be fully functional. So there has to be investment in it. There has to be investment in training and logistical support for the police. There has to be a reform within the judiciary as well, to ensure that the integrity of the entire process can be trusted by all parties.
Thank you. So let's ask the last question from our online person here. Then we'll go back to studio. So this person here called Gino. Can the former IG tell us what were his strategies used to attract community involvement in police reporting and management of cases that has the propensity to undermine the peace?
Well, what some of the things we did back then was just to be one, very accessible to the people, reaching out more than we normally did, showing up in communities that people didn't expect us to be in. I mean at the highest level of police, and that started to attract the confidence of the people. So officers now started liaising more with the local communities. They started engaging them on a daily basis. They were a part of community activities. As a result, trust and legitimacy was being built gradually. To get people reporting, that was a challenge, because sometimes community members did not feel protected to come out and even share information with the police, because there were times that they believe, and this is, I'm speaking personally, during times that I served.
Yeah.
Sometimes they believe that the police would not protect their identity. There are sometimes they even accuse the police of being a part of the crime syndicate, and that if they went out to even report the criminal, they could be reprimanded by the criminal because their name would be revealed. What did we do? We started to encourage them to come up more. We started to have more workshops, more engagement, making them to trust us more. In some cases, some of the major charge of quarters, we installed cameras to capture the investigation, audio and video recording of these investigations. And then we had suggestion box that people could put information. We had lines that people could call and remain autonomous to report some of these issues. And that was helpful, but there can still be more that can be done at this time, because our lives are changing very fast. COVID has revolutionized us in a way that we may not even uprightly recognize.
Yeah.
But we are moving more towards a digital age, and I would encourage the Liberia National Police to look into that as well and see how they can step up the game. The IT department needs to become more active, and that requires support from government. It requires support from police leadership as well, to encourage people to see that as a new trend. Well,
Okay.
it's not new, but I mean for Liberia, we're left behind already, and it's something that we must do whatever we can to catch up with.
Okay, so I know if we have longer time, we were to discuss so many things, but because we do not have time like that, and some of the community people have started sending me texts already. It's already 7 o'clock. Why you stay on the show, and the IG information is supposed to be at the program at 7 o'clock. So I would just ask this last question for this person called G Consistent. Then I would just ask you and Johnny to just give your parting, so at least we will meet on the other side of town tonight. So this question is from G Consistent. He said, what was the greatest challenges you had during your administration as IG?
Well, the greatest challenge, I mean, the greatest challenges surrounded the general and presidential elections of 2017 to ensure that it was peacefully conducted, and the transition of the United Nations from that of their forces to that of the LMP taking up most of the responsibilities in Liberia. Then I think those were the two greatest challenges, and we are proud to say that the team successfully pulled it out. We were able to conduct the elections. I mean, that has been rated as one of the most peaceful in memorable times. And also, the transition is recorded by the United Nations as a success.
Thank you so much, Greg, and thank you to my dear brother Johnny.
Thank you.
I know we do not have time. I'm sorry, we do not have time right now, so I will just go to you straight, Greg, to give your parting.
Well, it's quite a pleasing honor to have been invited on your platform and to have the opportunity to speak with other Liberians later on this evening. I look forward to an interactive exchange, and I hope to see you in person. Thank you. Service is my passion, and whenever I have the opportunity to do so, I'm humbly pleased to roll out everything that I have in me to be able to be of some service. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. So I'll go to my dear friend and brother, Johnny. Just give us your parting so we can meet later on at the hall.
Let me say thank you to my friend and brother in chief, Armor Gregor Como, former Inspector General of Police, for the uh, nice explanation. And I hope that this provide some knowledge to the people. I also want to urge our Liberian, I can understand how they feel about people or situation back home. Now all that is being seen on social media is true. There are a lot more professional police officers still there and still willing to do their job to offer. That'll give the process a chance so they can do their job. So that'll be hopeful. I also want to say thank you to you, friend and brother of Philip. You did extremely well for hosting me since I came here. I've been coming here. This is my first time on your show, and I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to be there for more time whenever I'm available again in
Yes.
Indiana. So thank you to the listener and thank you to everybody. I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear brother Johnny Boladin. So I look forward to seeing you guys again later this evening.
Sure, shortly.
Thank you, my dear brother. Well, there you have it. We're in conversation with the former police chief, Honorable Gregory Coleman, and my dear friend and brother, Honorable Johnny Boladin. He has served the Liberian National Police for years as compared to Gregory. And you heard Gregory explaining Gregory is a professional. Johnny is also a professional. He has an other background in homicide that he stated here. So we will be leaving shortly because it's already 7:03. We'll be on our way to where they having their town hall meeting tonight. So just to give you a little gist of what is happening at the park or what happened at the park. So just follow this one and see what is going on.
Next is Miss Chantel Alicia Paul. Next is Andre Colibo. Next is our keynote speaker. Miss Ayo Kwai. Next is Benin Alpha. Next is Miss Jenima Gaza. Last is Fredoni Cotton Walker.
Okay, folks, we have been here for a little while now. This Saturday, it was a real hectic Saturday. This morning, by 10 o'clock, we had Councillor Tiawan Gongolo, and we had an interview from 10 to 12. And later on, we had to run to the park to where we had to capture these beautiful videos of our young brains of this community. They were being certificated today for their hard work in school. And now I'm on my way now to the town hall meeting that will be taking place downtown Indianapolis at the Liberia Association head office. And I want to say thanks to all of you who have always made it your duty to follow us here on the Logan's Hour. Make this place your own. If you live in a community, or if you live in any part of Liberia, if you have some burning issues you want to discuss, you want to come up here, trust me, you see, sometimes you find small people following, but there are tons of people who follows. Some people follow not by clicking on, some people follow by clicking on, some people on YouTube, and there are a lot of people who follow after. So thank you for always following us, and we love you, we care about you. We said, have a good day and bye-bye.